Hi, this is Ingvar, and I wanted to review a game that was posted on Reddit, where a viewer was requesting a review of his game. He had the black pieces and played a long game, over 2 hours he said. So spent a lot of time on the game, so it's important to try to learn from your games, and hopefully I can help. So our hero in this game had the black pieces, and we will see his annotations. But okay, first we have just a normal opening, the queen's gambit declined, knight c3, knight f6, everything is normal. White takes on d5, that's the most common way to play here, and then play bishop to g5. And here he goes c6 and says this is what I looked up to play before the game, but here my theory preparation ends. Okay, c6 is a fine move. If we're just going by principles, I would say play bishop e7 first, because okay, most likely you will play c6 anyway, but you know you want to play bishop e7 and castle. Maybe you want to play c5 in one move. It also gives you an opportunity to maybe play for b6 in some cases. But okay, there's nothing wrong with the move. Bishop g5, you play c6. Okay, e3, bishop to e7, bishop to d3, and now here an interesting point. Here you played bishop to d4, and you said, I didn't know where to put my bishop, so might as well put it there. Well, you don't know what to do with it, but do you know what to do with the king? Of course you do. You want to castle, so let's just do that. And then, you know, postpone the problem. You know you want to castle, so just castle. And that and knight to b to d7 are the two most common moves here. So that's what I would suggest. And it turns out also that the role of this bishop isn't all that clear, and it's quite difficult to know what to do with it unless you have seen some games. So that's why it's important to see some master games in your opening and yeah, get a feeling for where the pieces should go. So you play bishop g4, but let's have a look at something normal like knight b to d7. Let's see how a game might progress here, like queen c2, castles, knight f3, rook e8 is a common move here. I just want to show you one plan here. Knight f8, h3, and here you can put the bishop on e6, but there's also an idea to play g6 here. And the reason for that, after some moves like rook a8 to b1, knight e6, hitting the bishops, white doesn't want to lose the bishop pair, so he plays bishop to h4, and now black plays bishop to knight to g7. And the idea of this is to put the bishop now on f3, neutralize f5, sorry, and neutralize this bishop, exchange them, and black is close to equality. So this is a good plan to know here. If you can achieve this, then you accomplish something. The bishop can also go on e6 in some cases, but in the game, if we go back, you played bishop to g4, and I believe somebody already pointed out in the chat that okay, the way the game went, I mean, you're only helping white really. I mean, he wants to play f3, knight g2, e2, castle, and then play for e4. And in that case, you just given him time to do exactly what he wants. One way to justify this bishop h5 move would have been to maneuver it to h5 and g6 at some point. Again, trying to exchange the light squared bishop. So it's actually an idea that has been played. But your next move completely gets ruins that idea. After h6, there's no longer the idea of putting the bishop here, because it would just be taken, losing a pawn. So usually h6 is only played when black wants to play b6 and put his bishop on b7. That's a completely different line, and so you have to know sort of these differences in the lines that you play. So h6 doesn't help you, and after castles and f3. And here you say you're kind of happy to provoke f3, because now e3 is undefended. It's true, but it's really easy to protect this, and this is a standard plan for white to play f3, knight g2, short castle, and then play for e4 at some point. And once you play bishop c8, which I don't like, you've given away 2 tempos for nothing, basically. So I would have much preferred that you at least try to play bishop to e6. Looks much more logical. At least the bishop is out influencing something. But instead you put it on c8, so now it's costing you some development. He goes for knight ge2, rook e8, and yeah, here he should definitely have castled and gone on with the plan, and he is already up some time according to, well, compared to normal positions. But perhaps he gave you a chance here by castling on the queenside, and well, not perhaps, he just gave you a chance. And here you go, knight to a6, which is probably okay. I mean, b5 is a standard way to play when you have this pawn structure and white has castled queenside. Then b5 becomes a very logical move to play, and then you can push b4, you can push the a pawn, and you attack like that. Quite often the knight can travel like this to c4. But okay, a6, this might be okay. Note that if white takes, that can't really be recommended. Yes, you give black double pawns, but you open the b file as well. You get rid of the light squared bishop, which you can use to attack. And this could be a useful piece at some point, but not immediately. But still, this was probably white's best choice, because a3 is not a good move. And why isn't it a good move? Because now white has given you a hook for his attack. Once you play b5, which is a move I really like, now you're getting ready to play b4, and you're already opening up the pawn front in front of white's king. So black should be better now, despite the early setbacks. White has played it into your hands and should be better for you now. Knight a2, c6 is hanging. Not much to worry about. I mean, if you lose that pawn, he's just opening lines for you. But queen b6 is a fine move. He goes b4, and now, yeah, I like how he played. Okay, he has played b4. Okay, he's blocking your play with c5, etc. But he's also opening up his king. So you want to open up the position on the queen side. And I really like knight c7 here with the idea a5. I would have done something similar. So thumbs up for that. Bishop to f2. And you say he unpins, so you can move your pieces wherever you want. Well, this wasn't really a problem. You can always move the knight if and when you want anyway. I mean, the bishop is covered, but still, okay, maybe it gives you a little bit more freedom. Now a5, and yeah, I like it. You're getting ready to open up the position. He plays king to b2. White's position is very difficult. I'm not gonna comment too much on the moves here. You keep opening up the position. A takes b4, and he takes with the knight. Okay, c6 is hanging. You're looking at c5, but it looks premature. I think c5 should be just fine here. Could have played that as well. I mean, it makes sense. You want to open up the position on the queen side. That's where you're attacking. That's where his king is, and currently it's exposed. If he takes, bishop takes, knight d4, and you say 2 knights together like this can be scary. Not really though. I mean, they're just barely defending, and at some point you can play knight e6 here, start to exchange things off, and I don't believe white can defend here. I mean, there are too many pieces and nothing to cover the king. This will end up badly for white. So he played bishop b7. I also think, to me, bishop d7 makes a little bit more sense if you want to defend the pawn. At least you keep an eye on some opportunities if they would arise on these squares pointing towards the king, while the bishop on b7 where you put it. It's kind of luck behind its 2 pawns, so yeah, just a matter of taste, I guess. I think bishop b7 should be okay. Rook to a1. Okay, he's just trying to find some way to defend. You play knight to a6. Okay, still opening up a position. I think you play the last few moves, and the moves after is just fine. Actually, very good. Queen b3. You played c5, opening up a position. A very thematic play. He has to take. I mean, otherwise, well, this piece is hanging. c4 is coming, so he takes on c5. You take with a knight. Queen d1, and yeah, here you should just bring more pieces into the game, like knight fd7 and then a bishop to f6 or something like that. But you play knight a4. I mean, it's okay. You do close the a file, but I mean, you're moving pieces closer to the king, so I'm not gonna. I think this move is okay. King b3 and rook a to c8. Okay, you had some tactical opportunities here, but after rook a c8, and especially after king b3, I mean, your tactical senses should be screaming here. There's something wrong with this king. Okay, you have the knight here on a4. It's covering these moves. Now after we put the rook on the c file, you're covering this one as well. So the king doesn't have a lot of squares. So note that now, if you can put something on this diagonal, it's almost checkmate. So even the move before, a move like d4 comes into consideration. You want to just give a check here, and it's looking devastating. But you played rook at c8, okay, and yeah, and now he played queen d2, and now you should be going d4 here. I mean, this is just coming. What can he do? Knight takes d4. You can take this. You just, you know, everything is coming in. Now he only has this square, and now you can choose, do you want to win the queen here, or do you want to even swing over to the a file? Everything wins now. So yeah, your spider senses should have been tinkling there with the rook, with the king on b3. But okay, you chose another move, knight d7. It does bring another piece, and you're ready to improve the bishop as well. So at this point, you're still completely winning. You play knight c5. Yeah, it's okay. Even though this check just brings the king. I mean, the king is far better off on a2 where it goes than it is on b3. But you're still well in control. You put the bishop on a good diagonal. And knight d4. It's slipping a little bit. So around here, yeah, you need to open up a little more. So probably you have to dislodge either of the knights. So you go with knight to e6. Yeah, maybe it was time to move the other knight actually to c5 on the move before, and try to focus something on the a file. But let's see, what did you play here? It was knight to e6. Yeah, and now it's slipping a bit. Yeah, there was one idea as well. I mean, he was hitting c4. Let's see, here. He played knight d6. Yeah, okay. Yeah, rook a to b1. Yeah, because now he's unpinning the knight, and this is hanging. I mean, your position is so good that you can even think about. I mean, this is hanging. You can even think about just sacking the exchange here, because this would bring your bishop alive a little bit more. So if he takes, you take with a d pawn, and it's really difficult for white to play here. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, let's say, okay, you're almost ready to put something on this diagonal again. So if you play something bad like knight takes e6, because people tend to want to, you know, resolve the tension, then already c3 is a threat. If he does nothing, well, what can we suggest? It's still really difficult to even find the move. Let's say rook d1. Now you can take on d4. Yes, take with a pawn. And yeah, even here you have tactical opportunities with rook e2 followed by knight c3. So rook to d1 wasn't a, you know, very special move. Let's try some random attacking move like h4. Now you can, yeah, swing over to the a file. This is just a cream position for black. Maybe even take here and play for c3. So I mean, black should still have a big attack here. But yeah, after rook a to b1, which was played, you took on d4. And now he's starting to get some foothold. And now this gets blocked, this gets blocked. Okay, this looked nice before, but it's a little bit stuck on the rim. And yeah, there's something missing. I mean, your position is still fine, but it's not, you know, completely winning like it was before. So you play king h8. Yeah, okay, you want to take on d4, so yeah, at least it's an idea. He took on c8, rook c1. And yeah, now your opponent played really nicely. You took on d4, and he played bishop f5. Okay, here you can still play knight c3 or something like that, but yeah, here just now it should be around equal. I mean, the material is equal. I mean, okay, you're up a pawn, but after this, he found this very nice move. And yeah, understandably, you've been attacking the whole game, so it's like a typical situation where you just miss what your opponent can do. But in your defense, you couldn't really do anything about it. So you played queen c7, and this is one of my favorite tricks. I had it myself in one of my first junior tournaments where I qualified for the national championship. I was down 2 exchanges, and it was exactly like this. I made like a decoy move on one wing, and then I hit him with exactly this one: queen takes h6, followed by mate to g7. So a tricky tactic at the end of the game. But yeah, I think the main takeaway is in the opening, just getting familiar with the ideas. Here you tripped a little bit in the opening about what to do with the bishop on c8. And yeah, just familiarizing yourself with the plans is always useful. And you know, this is a very simple idea to play for. It's a long maneuver, but it's an effective one. You play bishop f5, and you exchange the light squared bishops. And yeah, another thing to keep in mind is if you do get bishop g4 in, is that you want to be able to play bishop h5 to g6 to again exchange the light squared bishop. I think that's the main takeaway from the opening. I think you played the attack very well after he castled queenside, but then yeah, there was just something missing to finish it off. Yeah, hard to pinpoint really. You know, if it was just some one move, but yeah, felt like you should have been winning, but you know, these things happen, and I hope this was at least somewhat helpful. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.